We have a big topic to cover today, and we're talking about what you should do if you're in debt and you're not sure how to even begin getting out. I've got some great tips and tricks for DIY debt relief, plus some free and easy ways to take advantage from the professionals. Hint, hint, our free debt coaches. Hint, 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 we have a special guest that can really help you. Welcome to Ask Abby. Today we're talking all about debt. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Abby, and this is Credit and Debt's live show where we talk to you about credit, debt, and finances. Today we have a lot to cover. We're going to talk about debt. What to do if you have $5,000 in debt, $10,000 in debt, 26 open credit cards, and you can't make your payments. Maybe the debt collectors won't leave you alone. We're going to talk about all of that today. And to help you understand your options, we have a special guest, Claudia, who is a financial coach, and she's going to come on and answer all sorts of questions about what to do with your finances, how you can get help, and how the coaching process works with credit and debt. So what I'm going to do is bring her on and ask her questions. But here's the thing, guys, we want to talk about financial coaching and we talk about it all the time. So today's the day to ask your questions. Put your questions in the comment section and we will do our best to get those answered. So let me bring Claudia on. Hi, Claudia. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here today.
Thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today, but I hope we can get in some questions from the viewers as well. So while these people are conjuring up their questions, why don't we get started with the basics?
Wonderful.
So the first question I have, or more just for the sake of people watching, can you talk a little bit about yourself and your role as a financial coach?
Absolutely. So my name is Claudia. I've been working with credit.org, our nonprofit organization, for 11 years now. And I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to assist many individuals as well as families, resolve their debt and not have to be stuck in, this burden that they feel that they're in, that they're never going to be able to get out of. So, here at credit.org, we love to go ahead and educate people and let them know all of their different options so that they don't feel that they're stuck and they don't have to continue with this ongoing stress. There are options out there and there's a lot of relief that, we can go ahead and provide. And we give you a lot of education so that you understand the process and you understand how you are and can get out of debt.
Definitely. So I know that there's a lot that goes into being a financial coach, and I think everybody just got a good glimpse of it from that introduction. You really have to know everything about credit and debt and just finances in general. But for someone who isn't too familiar with credit counseling or financial coaching in detail, how does coaching work and what can somebody expect if they call in or request a coaching session through their dashboard on the CND portal?
Here with credit.org, we love to go ahead and partner with credit and debt because we believe that it does bring a lot of benefit to the client. When the client does call in, they definitely can go ahead and experience, one-on-one coaching. And we like to go ahead and personalize that coaching, to the individual based on what a client may have going on, how much debt they have, where they're at with their debt, and most importantly, what their goal is. What is their goal with accomplishing getting out of debt? So we pride ourselves on educating the client on all of those different options because it's not a cookie cutter. We personalize each coaching to each individual to help them achieve those goals.
And I think that's awesome. And I think it'll really help people understand what exactly they're getting into, not only in C&D, but also when they do request coaching and they get connected to credit.org, our partner. So I know that I get this question a lot, but I'm just curious, how long are coaching sessions and how much do they cost?
Our coaching sessions are absolutely free. And when you are connected with a coach, a coaching session can typically last anywhere from 20 to 35 minutes, depending on, how much debt the client has, or, how many different options we're looking at for that client. Again, because they're personalized, it all really depends on, how many questions the client may have. Again, we want to go ahead and make this as beneficial to all clients. So we want to make sure that we are answering all of their questions and really setting them off, in a good path to achieve what they want with their debt.
That's awesome. And I think it's so cool that it's personalized. I know that a lot of people have very unique finances, especially right now. I mean, it's crazy world out there. So I think that's super important. So when someone signs up on C&D for free debt management tools, they can get access to coaching right from their dashboard. So if you're not already a member on Credit and Debt, you can sign up today. It's completely free. And like Claudia just said, the coaching is also completely free. The sign up is super simple and it takes just a minute to complete. So you can get access to both the free tools and coaching straight from the dashboard. So what I'm going to do is put a link in the comment bar so that if you're not already a C&D member, you can go ahead and sign up. So that link's in there. Like I said, if you're interested in free coaching or just signing up for the platform itself and doing some DIY, if you're interested in how much you're spending, we talk about income versus expenses. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that later. But while we've got Claudia, like I just said, I think we can all agree that 2020 has been interesting, to say the least. So what changes have you seen in your coaching sessions due to the financial effects that COVID-19 has had on the economy?
One of the things that we like to go ahead and introduce our clients to is all of the different options that they have, not even just with their credit cards, but any other type of debt that they have. Sometimes they reach out to their own creditors, but they're not getting a lot of information. So we give you education on what to expect and what those options may be with that debt. And most importantly, right now, we want to go ahead and let everybody know that, you're not alone. You're not the only one. There are thousands of people that are facing the same situation. And that is why we want to go ahead and, offer this free coaching, because it's really going to go ahead and make a difference on what your next steps are going to be. Like you mentioned, this year has just been, a roller coaster for everyone. And we want to make sure that you guys all feel supported, most importantly, and educated, right? Because if you know what your next step is and you feel confident about it, then you're going to go ahead and succeed. And it really does take a lot of stress, off of you, the client who's really experiencing this. But just, you don't have to, go through this alone. You will go ahead and have the support of a coach. And if you ever need additional assistance, even after our initial coaching sessions, our coaches are only a phone call away. We can go ahead and, schedule multiple, touch base appointments for a client so that we can go ahead and make sure that we're providing all of the necessary tools and education that one may need.
Which is awesome, because not only is everybody facing something unique, so the personalization is great, but in this atmosphere, things change so quickly. You can be employed one day and unemployed the next, facing terrible things, which it's happening right now. People are facing losing their homes and being evicted, not to mention the health risk. So it's not always easy to know the right move to make. So it's great that you can really offer more than one option to people and continuous resources. One of the things that we try to do at C&D is offer resources and answer questions that we know consumers are facing. So there was a lot of external financial help when this all first started, like the stimulus checks and unemployment benefits, but those can only do so much and they only last so long. So if you're looking for extra help, definitely call our coaches. But you can also tune into this episode of Ask Abby we did a few weeks ago. We're talking about what to do when your unemployment runs out, or if you're looking for a little bit more help with unemployment. So that said, how we talk about custom recommendations in our portal, in the C&D portal. So how does that translate to coaches? You talked a little bit about personalization, but can you give us an example of how somebody might be facing something different and how you approach that?
Yeah, definitely. Here at credit.org, we're taking a look at your entire holistic, counseling. So we do have other services that we do provide. So our coach can go ahead and after, developing that personalized plan with you, they can go ahead and let you know if internally we have other resources that may be able to help you. Like, for example, you said, someone's facing foreclosure. We have assistance for student loans. We have, if someone is already maybe considering, bankruptcy, we have education for that as well. We have many different resources that one may be able to take advantage of, if they do fit, if it's a good fit for the client.
Which is so cool. And that's why we partner with credit.org, because we talk a lot about debt relief and credit scores, but there's so much more to your finances. There's so many different things that if you have questions about, it's not always easy to know. And DIY help is great. And we're going to talk about that today, but it's not always the best solution. And it's not always easy. It's hard to know what you're looking for. So the other thing I have a question about, though, is when it comes to those hard things that people are looking for answers about, sometimes people are intimidated to talk to someone, or you might be worried about being judged. So what are some common questions or concerns you hear when someone calls in for coaching?
There's absolutely no judgment, with our coaches. We are here to go ahead and help everyone. Please don't feel, like you're the only one or there's no help out there, or you maybe don't feel like you're educated enough with different options. We do often get clients, that are calling in that are even scared to reach out to the creditors, right? We have clients who have fallen behind, so many months already, and they don't know what their next step is. They're not sure if they're going to receive a legal letter from a creditor or what's next. So we want to go ahead and make sure that you're walking away from this coaching session, with getting all of your questions answered and empowered with additional information. And just know that this is a confidential one-on-one coaching session. And, again, we would love to go ahead and answer all of the financial questions that you may have so that we can go ahead and guide you in the best direction.
Absolutely. So you guys, if that's you, don't feel like you're alone. Like Claudia even just said, there are some of these things that you might feel like you're dealing with this, but they're common. And she hears these things all the time. These coaches, they're experienced, they know what's going on, and there's absolutely no judgment involved. Debt is not an easy thing to navigate. And that's why 80% of Americans have debt. So one way or another, you are not alone. With that in mind, though, what do you say to someone who is just so overwhelmed with their debt and financial circumstances, or might be too embarrassed or skeptical even to call in?
We strongly encourage, if you want to just go ahead and call in and just ask questions, please go ahead and feel free to do so. Like I mentioned earlier in our conversation, when you feel empowered and you feel, filled with knowledge on what steps to take next, then it's going to go ahead and make you feel more confident on resolving this debt and knowing that you are not the only one, but you are the one who's taking that extra step. You're becoming educated and you're getting that solution that you desperately need. Don't wait. We are here to go ahead and assist you. We're here to help you Monday through Saturday. So we are very, very flexible. We do have the support to go ahead and help you. And again, even if you just have some questions, go ahead and call, speak to one of our coaches, and we would be more than happy to go ahead and answer your questions.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you mentioned the hours of Monday through Saturday. So that's great for people who are working. I'm curious, what are the time ranges? So if it's Monday through Friday, what are the hours that people can call? Can they call after work? How does that work?
Yeah, so we are open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. And let's say you just want to call to schedule an appointment, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to schedule an appointment online, you can go ahead and do that. That's just one of the benefits that we do have, because we understand that, everyone is busy and may not have the time to just go ahead and call in, but you can have the ability to go ahead and schedule an appointment online.
And that's perfect. So that's Pacific time, in case anybody missed that. So if you're on the East Coast and you're watching this, that means that coaches are available up till 10 o'clock Eastern. I think the clock's changed this week though, so it'll be 9 o'clock, but still plenty of time to call in after work if that's the time that you're flexible, or even on a Saturday. So you've talked about that people can follow up with questions down the line. Do you have anyone ever do that? I'm curious if you have people that you've talked to and you've helped and they've come back. What happens after a coaching session, and do people call back in?
Yes, we do have people that do call back in. The most, I think, rewarding call that we do get is when people are calling us back and letting us know that they are seeing a big difference. They have now accomplished getting into a plan, and now there's not only saving money, but they don't have that overwhelming, stressful feeling, of not taking advantage of, that the programs that are out there. So we do get people that do call us back and let us know how they're doing, especially if it's some of our internal programs. There's a lot of follow-up that goes with that to make sure that the clients, are engaged and if they have any questions. But we do get people that are calling us back, letting us know either they're out of debt or they've been able to save on their balances or even their payments. And we've even had people call us back, letting us know that now their marriage has been restored, right? Because we know how much burden that could be, on a family and a marriage. So we provide counseling, and it's free financial coaching, but also we love to make a difference in someone's personal life. Not finances are just so stressful, and it makes a big difference on your overall household.
Yeah, I think it's a huge difference on your overall well-being, especially in today's atmosphere. Everything is crazy. I always say 2020 has been enough. If you tack on any extra on top of that, if you're stressed about anything on top of just what's happening in 2020, it's too much. So having that opportunity to get the help you need, I think it's awesome that people call back in.
Yes.
So we mentioned this a little bit, that there's some different options for people out there. And I talk a lot about debt and what we can do if somebody requests coaching, and we, send them to you guys for help with their debt. But you mentioned some other opportunities there. So can you, in case anybody just tuned in, talk a little bit about what the other options are, who can call in, and what are some prerequisites to calling?
Of course. So we encourage everyone to go ahead and give us a call. If you have a debt and you have questions, or, you're having trouble, go ahead and give us a call. But when we're going through the, financial coaching session with the client, we like to go ahead and identify again how much debt one has, what type of debt they have. And we are going to take a look at all the different programs. Those programs will be including a debt management program, a debt settlement program that may be an option, a loan may be an option. There are various different programs, and again, that's going to be just a unique fit, and it's going to be personalized for that one individual. It's not one umbrella, and that's what makes us different. We focus so much on coaching and education that we're not the type of company that you're going to call and we're going to go ahead and just have that one option, cookie cutter, either you fit or you don't. We try to go ahead and look at all the different options available for you so that it can be a right fit for you. And I tell you, if you have debt and you have, credit cards, personal loans, student loans, just please, I encourage you to give us a call, because you're going to feel so much better even just after that initial phone call.
Yes, absolutely. So we're coming close to wrapping things up, Claudia. So if you have questions, make sure you get them in now, and we'll try to get them answered before she signs off. But I'm going to stick with you all through the hour here. So giving you tips and tricks outside of professional coaching. We're going to talk about some DIY tips and tricks you should know. If the debt collectors are calling, what should you do if you miss a credit card payment? That's all coming up. But if you have questions for Claudia, get them in now. If you don't get them in now, that's okay. We'll make sure that we get them answered for you, or you can just give her a call. We've talked about that. That's definitely an option too. The last couple of questions for you, Claudia. It must be, we talk about it being, financial counseling and coaching. So That's a lot of heavy weight, I think, for everyone, including potentially you. It must be a stressful job, but I'm sure, like you mentioned, it's also rewarding. So what's your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part about my job is, and I think I speak for myself and our team, is really, seeing someone with that relief, that burden no longer on their shoulders, at the end of the call. We have people that are just so grateful, such gratitude, for existing. And that's something that people have mentioned, had I known that you guys exist, or when someone, shares with us that they're going to go ahead and tell everyone and anyone that they know that this assistance is out there, for people who are possibly thinking or considering bankruptcy, and they contact us and we have been able to help them, so that way it's avoiding filing for bankruptcy. It's all in education, and that's what we pride ourselves in, educating everyone. And it's so great to go ahead and see people actually receive the assistance that is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my last question that kind of ties into that is, with that reward, are there any specific stories you can share with us that were memorable to you and you were able to help somebody?
Yes, we had this lady. This was actually not long ago. She was from Georgia, and she had a lot of student loans on top of just credit cards, and her job, she had lost her job when COVID just started in the beginning of the year. But luckily, she was able to get back to work, just a few months ago. And she didn't think it was going to be possible to even catch up with all of her payments. So we were able to go ahead and develop a plan for her and get her onto the path of, starting payments again and getting her to become debt free in about 3 years. So she was very, very grateful and didn't think that this year was going to, bring anything positive for her after she had encountered so much negativity, with losing her job and having this debt and not knowing what she could do. But after speaking to one of our coaches, she was able to get the assistance, and now she is on her path to soon becoming debt free and, working out all of her debt.
That's awesome. Cheers to you from Georgia. That's so cool. But thank you for sharing that with me. For everybody watching, I think that that's really special. Unfortunately, that's all the time that Claudia has for us today. So if you're interested in talking to her or one of our other the amazing coaches that are at credit.org, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can sign up using the link in the comment section. And if you sign up, which is fast, easy, it's super simple, it's free, you can request a coaching session right through the dashboard. Claudia, thank you so much for hopping on the show.
Thank you so much for having us. And, for all of you out there who are listening, we really look forward to speaking with you. Again, there is no judgment. Just come with it all, and we are here to help you.
Thank you so much. I will let you know if anyone chimes in with questions, but in the meantime, thank you for all that you're doing to help people right now. I know it means a lot to our current customers.
Thank you. You guys have a nice day. Thank you.
Thanks, Claudia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, everybody. So if you're just joining in, we just signed off our interview with our qualified financial coach, Claudia. She works in partnership with Credit and Debt through credit.org, which is a nonprofit credit counseling agency who's been in business for 46 years. So she gave us some amazing insights into what free coaching looks like through credit and debt. So when you go to Credit and Debt, you can get free coaching through our partners. So one of the things that we don't mention too often is that opportunity. It's pretty cool because our missions, they align so well, and we're always just looking for ways to improve your financial journey. So if there are any questions you have, I can make sure to get them sent to Claudia, or you can just go ahead and sign up and call her yourself. That said, I want to take a little bit more time to dive deeper into our topic today. We're talking about debt, what to do with debt, where to turn, and how to get out of it. Now that we've talked about the options for professional debt help, let's dive into some DIY options. We're going to talk about a few strategies today, and we're talking about the debt avalanche and the debt snowball methods, which are similar concepts, but with different approaches. So we're going to discuss specific options for the amount of debt you have and how the type of debt you are dealing with plays into that. So while I get ready to jump into that, please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you have. I need a drink of water because I've been doing so much talking. But please let me know if you have some questions, put them in the comment bar. So let's dive in. Let's talk about the debt avalanche method. So to sum it up, the debt avalanche method is a strategy to help you focus on paying your high interest debt first, which as far as DIY debt payoff strategies go, this will save you the most money in the long run for DIY debt payment strategies. So how does it work? The first step is to look at all of your accounts, their balances or their interest rates. So you're spreading everything out. You're taking a look line by line your accounts. Now, of course, you can do that with good old pen and paper. Nothing wrong with that. Or you can go to creditanddebt.org and actually import all of your different accounts into your dashboard. This will automatically update and keep all of your info in one place, but I'm just going to log into the dashboard on my phone and show you how it works. So give me just a second. We'll get logged in. So when you go to Credit and Debt, that's what it looks like. That's on your phone. It looks a little bit different on the desktop version. So you can go to the little bars and click log in if you already have an account, or you can click sign up. Now the sign up process is super easy. It's like 6 questions, all the basic questions, first name, last name, email, so that we can get and a new password so that you can get your account logged into, and then just a couple other questions so that we can help you formulate your goals and understand what your goals are. So things like, are you trying to increase your credit or reduce your debt? What's your credit score look like and how much debt do you have? And then your income, we ask that too, because we want to be able to help you with your debt to income ratio, depending on what that might look like. So you can log in on this screen. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, when you log in, this little screen pops up. It says, welcome. I know it's backwards for you guys right now, but it gives you the option of syncing your accounts. If you click sync to learn more, you can search for your different accounts right in the app. Some of the most popular ones like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those are all in there already. But if that's not one of your banks, you can just go ahead and search for your bank. So that's to log into your bank account. When you click, let's just say Chase Bank, you'll see here that it comes up with the user ID and password. That's your online banking username and password. It's different than your C&D login. So you log in with your banking user ID and password, and then it just takes a couple minutes. It really is quick. It should only take maybe 20 seconds to sync those accounts, sync all of your data. So if you get that going, it'll take a few seconds, and then the same goes for each of your accounts, whether it's your car payment, credit card, or personal loans, etc. So after you do that, you pop down to the bottom, and I haven't synced any yet, but in this debt area right here, it'll automatically list all of your accounts right there. It'll show you the account name, the balance, the interest rate, and it'll line it all up right there for you. You don't have to do any of the numbers. You don't have to write it all down. All you have to do is log into your bank account, which you would have to do anyways to write it down. So you just log in and then it pops it all up automatically for you. So it's really easy to figure out which one is the first one to focus on when you're using the debt avalanche method. You'll still pay your minimum payments with this method. You'll still pay the minimum payments on all of your accounts, and then you'll pay a little bit extra if you can to the account with the highest interest rate. So that's the debt avalanche method. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. We're going to dive into the snowball method. It's the same process you know what, before we do that, I want to talk about one more thing that's really cool on the app. first of all, if you were wondering how you get in contact with a coach, you push this button down here, contact a coach now. Basically what happens is you get asked 4 questions so that the coach knows exactly what kind of help you're looking for, and then they'll call you. If they call you at an inconvenient time, you can go ahead and reschedule. Like Claudia mentioned, you have the opportunity to schedule appointment at the time of your convenience. So credit.org's hours for coaching are 7 to 7 Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and 7 to 3, I believe she said, for Saturday, Pacific Standard Time. So definitely you can get an account or a call scheduled if the time that they call is inconvenient to you. So yeah, you just push that little button down there. Now, if you've already synced your bank and you're trying to sync more accounts, there's plenty of ways you can do that. You just click either sync your account in this credit card section, or you can always sync your accounts down at the bottom. You can also do this manually. So if you're logged into all of your accounts and you don't feel like syncing with a bank, obviously that's what I suggest. You'll ensure that your data is correct, you've got all the right numbers, and you don't have to worry about pen and paper. But you can also, if you already know, for instance, what your interest rate and your balances are, you can add them manually right on the app. So it gives you the option here. You can, right there, you can add an account manually. So that's a great option too, if you already know what you're looking at. So let's talk about the debt snowball method. It's the same process to start. You need to list out all of your debts, and you can do that in the app. You can also do it on pen and paper if that's more your style. The snowball method, though, is a little bit different than the avalanche method because you start paying off the debt with the lowest balance first, the smallest amount of debt in the account. So rather than paying the highest interest rate, you're paying the lowest balance. There's a couple of different reasons that you do that. For one, there's a sense of relief and satisfaction that comes with paying off an account in full, regardless of what the balance is. You'll be in a much better headspace if you have 3 payments instead of 4. One less thing to keep track of, one less thing to worry about, right? The other reason is that it's a great way to expedite the process of paying all your debt. So if you make the minimum payments on all your debts and you pay as much as you can towards the debt with the least amount of money on it, that's the snowball method. If you have a credit card that has a balance of $3,000, a credit card that has a balance of $1,500, and another one with a balance of $500, you work towards paying off that $500 balance first. Here's the kicker. For both of these DIY debt strategies, you pay off one account and then you allocate whatever that payment was to the next payment. So if you pay off that debt that had a $500 balance, and you were paying $250 per month. And let's say on the $1,500 balance account, you had a payment of $200, a minimum payment. Now, in 2 months, you'd allocate $250 towards your minimum payment for that $1,500 balance, meaning you'd be paying $450 per month towards that $1,500 balance. You guys, you'd pay that off in a matter of months. It would be no time at all. So while that seems like a lot, if you're in good shape making your minimum payments, one of these 2 strategies will definitely work for you. You will be saying sayonara to those debt payments in absolutely no time at all. Now, this is fine and dandy, though, like I just said, if you're in decent shape paying your bills, right? But that's not the case for everybody, especially right now. Claudia and I talked a lot about that. So if you're stuck in a tricky spot and you don't have enough money to pay your bills, let alone your debt payments, I want to share a couple of Ask Abby shows with you. The first one is about what happens when you miss a credit card payment. Look, guys, I've done it. It happens. It happens to a lot of people. People miss credit card payments. Whether you're having a hard time paying your bills, so you're opting out of paying a credit card payment on purpose, or you just forget about a credit card payment altogether, missing a credit card payment is sometimes inevitable. But regardless of the reason, it's important to know what happens when you miss that credit card payment. So I did a whole Ask Abby show about this question and what does missing a credit card payment do to your credit score. So check it out. I'm going to leave that link in the comments section for you there. Now, if that's not you, or if that is you, if that is you, and you're not going to be able to make a credit card payment and you know it, believe it or not, there is a really good way to miss a credit card payment and a really bad way to miss a credit card payment. Obviously, missing a credit card payment is never a good thing. But like I said, sometimes it's inevitable and it happens. So if you do miss a credit card payment, please watch this show that I did a few weeks ago on which payments you should stop making if you're in a pinch. I talk all about how to miss a credit card payment the right way and how to miss it the wrong way. We also, in that episode, give you really good tips and tricks for ways to defer your payments, skip payments, find relief for your payments, or ultimately how to go about missing a payment if that's your only option. I'm going to give you a little hint. If it were me, I would rather have 2 30-day late payments than 1 60-day late payment. These two types of red flags are vastly different to your future lenders, the credit bureaus, and even your existing lenders. So if you're like, I'm sorry, what did this lady just say? Seriously, go watch that episode. 2 30-day late payments is better than 60-day late payments. At least that's what I think. If you disagree with me, let me know. I want to hear about it, but go watch that episode. Let's talk a little bit about someone's situation. If you're already not making payments and your lenders have sent you to collections and the debt collectors are just hassling the living heck out of you, there are some things you can do about it. The first one is call our coaches. We just chatted with Claudia, a financial coach with credit.org, Credit and Debt's nonprofit credit coaching partner. So if you have questions, go log in and contact a coach. If you're already getting calls from the debt collectors, then you're already a potential candidate for a few debt relief options. The other thing you can do is, though, make the calls stop. So if you, in writing, request them to stop, they legally have to stop calling you. But there's a couple of things you need to do if they are calling to ensure you protect yourself. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. If you're getting calls from debt collectors already, you need to know a few things. First of all, when somebody calls you and you're not sure who it is, you think it could be a debt collector, take notes. Grab a pen and a piece of paper or open the notepad on your phone. Take notes. You want to keep track of the who, what, when, where, and why of these phone calls. The second thing, don't admit you owe anything. By admitting you owe any amount of debt, you might be foregoing some of your legal options. So just don't admit you owe anything. If they say, do you owe X lender $3,000? Don't admit it. Just say, I'm not answering any questions right now. I apologize. I will make sure I get to you in a future date or something along those lines. Don't make any payment or promises to make a payment. If they say I owe X, Y, and Z, don't say, maybe I do, maybe I don't, but I'll pay you back eventually. Don't make any promises. This is basically the same concept as the one above. By making a promise that you'll make any payment, regardless of the debt amount, you're basically admitting that you owe something. The next thing you should do, though, while you're taking notes, you're not admitting anything, request a debt validation letter. This letter will list out what they say you owe on top of any fees and the collection agents that the collection agency is tacking on. So basically, rather than being caught off guard and being on the phone and not knowing what to do while you're on the phone, the best thing to do is just say, can you please send me a debt validation letter? Or you can request that letter by mail. Obviously, you want to keep your cool. Don't get angry. Don't get worked up. These people are doing a job. Their job is to hassle you, unfortunately, even though it is a hassle. So just keep your cool and don't admit you owe anything. Don't make any promises. Also, don't provide any personal information. Don't provide any financial information. You don't want to provide your social security number, your account numbers, nothing like that. And then lastly is make sure you just double check everything. That's why you take notes of the who, what, when, where, why, so that you can make sure you're looking out for scams. They do happen. They're happening right now because of everything is just a little bit unstable economically. So there is more opportunity. People are more vulnerable to a financial scam. So look out for scams. That's why you look for the who, what, when, where, why. And that's why you request the debt validation letter so that everything checks out and you're all good to go. I want to talk about a few more things today. I want to discuss debt relief options that are out there. We're going to talk about debt management plans, debt settlement or debt negotiation, and debt consolidation. Before I dive in though, have you ever gone through any of these programs? Let me know if you have. If you have gone through a DMP, a debt settlement, a debt consolidation, I want to chat about your experience. And I'd love to know if you had a good experience, a bad experience, what the whole shebang looked like for you. So if you've done anything like that, or even if you've done the debt snowball or the debt avalanche and it worked or it didn't work, I would love to know. So if you have, shoot me a Facebook message or email me and we can chat about it. My email is askabby@creditanddebt.org. If you message the Credit and Debt Facebook page, I will get that message. If you message the Ask Abby Facebook page, I will also get that message. So yeah, if you've gone through any of that stuff, I would love to hear about it. I want to know about your experience. If you're open to chatting with me, fully confidential, of course, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. But let's talk about some of these. Let's talk about a debt management plan, which are sometimes referred to as a DMP. So with a debt management plan, it usually takes about 3 to 5 years to pay off your debt using this type of program, depending, of course, on how much debt you have. Now, the cool thing about these is that a true DMP is run through a nonprofit like credit.org, the coaching agency that Credit and Debt partners with to provide free credit coaching. So a DMP is run through a nonprofit, that's credit.org. So the good news is that that's something that we can offer you. It also, with a DMP, doesn't hurt your credit as much as some of the other options that we've talked about, because your coach will work with you and directly with your creditors to ask them to accept either a certain payment or a reduced interest rate, void the fees, things like that. So DMP is sometimes also referred to as a nonprofit debt consolidation because it consolidates all of your eligible debt payments into one monthly payment that you'll pay directly to the credit counseling agency. So rather than paying each of your individual lenders with their late fees and their incredible interest rates and all this stuff, you work with a credit coach and they directly help you coordinate with your creditors, and then you pay one monthly payment. It takes 3 to 5 years to pay off your debt using a debt management plan. So, and like I said, it doesn't hurt your credit as much because you're working with your creditors to find a timeline that works for both parties, and ultimately you're paying your debt in full. That's not the same as some of these other options that we're going to talk about. So let's jump into debt settlement after I take a drink of water. But debt settlement is essentially exactly what you might assume it is based on the name. It's the act of settling your debt. And most of the time you find a settlement with your creditors that is less than the balance that you owe. It's a great option if you have a lot of unsecured debt, like over $10,000 or more. I mean, $10,000 is not necessarily a lot of unsecured debt. Many people have significantly more than $10,000 in debt, but debt settlement becomes an option probably around there. If you have less than $10,000 in debt, a debt management plan is really, truly a good option for you. But if you have more than that, could be looking towards debt settlement a little bit. But a couple things you need to know about debt settlement. For one, it does hurt your credit score more than a debt management plan. Why? Because you usually have to stop paying on your accounts in order to negotiate a settlement with your creditors. If you're paying your accounts and you're paying the minimum payments, and you go to your creditor and you say, hey, actually, instead of paying my minimum payments, I think I'm going to give you half. They're going to say, no way, right? So that's kind of how that works in some cases. Like we talked about earlier, when you're late on payments, your credit score is not a happy camper. That's why a debt settlement, one of the reasons why debt settlement hurts your credit. The other reason it hurts your credit score is that you never actually end up paying your debt in full, which is great news, right? So you can end up sometimes paying only 50% of your debt in debt settlement, but not too great for your credit score, not a great news for your creditor. So they're never going to report to the credit bureaus that you've paid in full. That said, your credit score does come back eventually from debt settlement. So if you have any questions on debt management plans or debt settlement, throw them in the comment bar. I'll get them answered, but I want to dive into debt consolidation loans. First and foremost, if that's really what you're interested in, I did a whole Ask Abby show on debt consolidation loans already. And in that show, I really dive into detail and let you know some of the nitty gritty tips and tricks you need to know if you're considering a debt consolidation loan. So if you're wondering about debt consolidation, and that's the whole reason you've watched this show or you tuned in and you stay in because you're curious about debt consolidation, just hop over to this other show or watch it after this show's over. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it in this show. A couple of things about it. Part one, it's a loan. It's basically a new debt that you use to pay off your old debt. That way you can pay only one payment per month. It can save you money, but it all depends on your current financial standing. So it doesn't always save you money. That's the key. For example, if you have a decent credit score, like in the mid to high 600s, you could probably qualify for a good interest rate on your debt consolidation loan, potentially lower than some of your other debts. Let's say you have a bunch of credit card debt, your interest rates are over 20% on your credit cards. Maybe you can qualify based on your credit score for a debt consolidation loan that has a lower interest rate, 16%. Obviously, you'd be saving money there. There's a little detail though. Sometimes the way that they save you money on a debt consolidation loan is extending the length of your loan. So you have to be careful. Watch that video if you're looking at a debt consolidation loan. All that said, if your credit score isn't looking too hot, you might not qualify for an interest rate that would end up saving you any money. Another kicker with debt consolidation loans is that they also hurt your credit because you're paying off your debt, which reduces your credit utilization ratio, and you're opting in for a hard pull on your credit, which can drop your score upwards of 60 points at times. That's a mouthful. I get it. But ultimately, what you need to know is that a debt consolidation loan can hurt your credit score. Not as much as a debt settlement. It takes about 18 months for your credit score to fully come back from that type of thing. So it's not a lifetime by any means. Not that it is with a debt settlement either. Debt settlement is also would never hurt your credit as much as like a bankruptcy would. So it's a great opportunity or a great alternative to bankruptcy. But in a debt consolidation loan, it's just important that you know that it would hurt your credit temporarily. It's certainly something to think about too if you're planning on making any significant purchases in the next couple of years. So you don't want to risk a major drop to your credit score if you're planning on buying a house or a car or anything like that. So those are the big ones. We talked about debt management plans. We talked about debt settlement. We talked about debt consolidation. We've talked about the debt snowball method, the debt avalanche method, and we had a whole interview with Claudia, a qualified financial coach from our credit.org, our nonprofit credit counseling partners. So we've talked about a lot today, and I want to know if you want to know more about these options, definitely watch that Ask Abby episode that I put in the comment section. And in that video, I also share a couple of other great resources on those options. But the big thing, you guys, especially if you're considering any of those options for debt relief, is to call our coaches. I drill it into you every week, but it's free. They're there to help you. They're passionate about helping people. And it's simple and easy to talk to them. Like Claudia said, the coaching sessions range anywhere from 20 to 35 minutes. So it's not that long, and it can save you a lifetime of burden and stress. So I promise you also, that's a lot faster than trying and going to do all the research for your options yourself. But I've been talking for a while today, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But before I do, I want to give you a few minutes for anyone to ask any more questions and talk about what we've got going on in the next couple of weeks. So first, you've probably noticed a change in my Ask Abby schedule. We've gone from short weekly shows to one long monthly show. Let me know what you guys think about that. And if you like watching a shorter weekly or a monthly show that encompasses everything. Normally what I would have done is break up this show into smaller chunks. I would talk about DIY debt relief like debt avalanche and debt snowball in one show, and then talk about each of the professional services and interview and have Claudia, who works for credit.org, on a different show. So let me know what you think. Another thing on that note, if anyone has any questions or topics that they'd like covered, I will do the research and I will have a show on that topic between my monthly shows. So if you have a question that I haven't answered for you yet, I will do the research and I will make sure I get that question answered for you. You can ask questions in the comment bar. You can message me on Facebook. You can email me at askabby@creditanddebt.org. And if you'd like to do that, then your question will be completely confidential and I'll do a show for you on that question. You don't have to go through the research. I will answer all of the questions about that. Here's the thing. If you like my show, that's awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and please hit that like button and follow our page so that you get our notifications for when I do go live. If you don't like my show or you don't like how I've changed it, I still want to hear from you. What don't you like and what can I do to make it more helpful? Ultimately, our goal here at Credit and Debt is to give you the credit you deserve. Literally and figuratively, you guys, the credit you deserve. So please let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching today. I look forward to your emails and your comments. Have a safe and happy weekend, and I will see you next time on Ask Abby.